Yeah, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. HMP Wandsworth. It's in the news, folks. Apparently, there's been movement at HMP Wandsworth. They are transferring numerous inmates out. No doubt, inmates who are considered to be of a high degree of risk and relocating them throughout the prison system. The minister for the Minister of Justice for Prisons is called Chalk, Alex Chalk, and he is making statements concerning the condition of the prisons, saying that action has been taken. But the Chief Inspector of Prisons made a very telling statement. Charlie Taylor, who is the Chief Inspector of Prisons, speaking on Sunday with an interview with the BBC's Laura Kuenssberg, said, and this is a direct quote from Charlie Taylor, "It means prisoners sharing cells that were designed for one person, continuing to use these old, battered, crumbling, vermin-infested Victorian jails, which would make fantastic museums, but really are not fit for the purpose they are used for in the 21st century." Well, absolutely, prison staff and all the inmates who have been through those jails are quite been saying this for the last 50 years. I mean, they also recognise that inmates are spending 22, maybe 23 hours a day in their cells, locked up. And in this kind of hot weather that we've had, I mean, it's not been particularly hot in Lancashire, where I live, but I believe in London it's been 32, 33 degrees. When you get into an old jail like Wandsworth or the Scrubs, once it gets hot, it gets really, really hot because all the bricks heat up over the days, and we've had about 7 days of constant heat. So it's going to be unbearably hot inside those old Victorian jails. As for the inmate that was the catalyst in all this, which I had been saying for some time, there will come a catalyst, and once that happens, then things will change, but only when that is met. I mean, with the original Strangeways riot in 1990, that was a catalyst that changed the system, because up to then there was no sanitation in the cells at all, no toilets in the cells, nothing. All it were just empty cells or just bare brick walls. But now, of course, they have sanitation. They've also got computers, they've got radios, they've got televisions, all this. Big change from 1990. So the Strangeways riot did do something. And Alan Lord, I know he's been out for some time now and has set up a gymnasium training people on weightlifting and what have you in Manchester. He was one of the main proponents of the riot. You can look back and say, well, they actually achieved something there. But as for this Daniel Khalif, he has apparently been gathering information for foreign powers and for people who want to act as terrorists. I believe he was involved in a fake bomb plot. He wasn't actually planting a bomb, planting a fake bomb. And MI5 and MI6 have been all over this, and that's how he ended up in Wandsworth. Yeah, HMP Wandsworth. Well, he's not going to go back there. I believe at the moment he's held in police custody. Well, from the police custody, he will no doubt be transferred to HMP Belmarsh, which is a high security prison which holds inmates who are considered to be of category A status. so there'll be a threat to the public or a threat to the nation. And obviously, if he's doing that kind of nonsense, then Daniel Khalif will be there. But he has done something. He may not realise this, but what he's done is expose the fact that HMP Wandsworth and the old crumbling Victorian estate of prisons is unfit for purpose, as stated by HM Inspector of Prisons, Mr. Charlie Taylor. And Alex Chalk, as the MOJ Minister of State for the prisons, is openly admitting that the system is crumbling. They say that there are certain protocols in place to prevent this from happening. The protocols obviously didn't work. They haven't got staff to do it. It's vastly understaffed. What are they going to do? I think the first thing they've got to do is say, well, we're going to get rid of all these old Victorian jails. They don't work anymore. That system went out round about the end of World War II. I would say that after that, when they did away with national service, then the tone of both the prisoners and the prison staff changed, because there was no longer that form of discipline instilled into the population that came with national service and military duties. People just didn't have it. It went out the window. So the jails become increasingly more and more difficult to manage as the nature of the inmates and the staff changes. And now I've previously said, they're putting people onto the landings who have got no experience whatsoever of taking charge of groups of adults. They haven't. And they're putting people into positions without proper training, because they haven't got staff to train them. They've got rid of all the long service staff by making it virtually impossible for them to work. And by over a period of the last 40 years, the rate of prison staff pay has just continued to fall and fall and fall, to the point now where it's practically impossible to afford housing and accommodation from the wage if you live in one of the inner cities. So it's very difficult, and no longer do the Home Office provide accommodation. So that's what's happening with HMP Wandsworth. They're removing prisoners. I believe they've removed 40 in the last 24 hours, which is and there'll be high-risk inmates who are Category B, who really should be Category A, but have been, for whatever reason, they've held them in Wandsworth, but they're no longer doing that. So big changes afoot for the prison service, I believe. So although Daniel Khalif is obviously an obnoxious, horrible, self-centred traitor, or would possibly traitor, because he's going on trial until he's found guilty, he's innocent. But MI5 and MI6 have been all over him. Right, so stirred something up, and it's about time that people started listening, because the people that are in the prison are our uncles, our brothers, our fathers, our sisters, our cousins, ourselves. We're the people who are in the prisons. We should not be in that kind of situation, involved in a dirty, decrepit, vermin-infested, filth-riddled Victorian dungeon. And that is according to HM Inspector of Prisons, Mr. Charlie Taylor. Those are his words. That's the song dinger, folks, and it's John G. Sutton. I'm not going to sing to you today. You suffered enough with the other ones, didn't you? Come on. Catherine sent me a nice picture of where she lives. Looks very idyllic. Stone walls, leafy valleys. What more could you ask for? This is a poem by... I want to read you a poem. It's by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Possibly one of his most recognisable poems. You would naturally associate this with Tennyson, who, by the way, lived on the Isle of Wight. Have a look at where he lived. Very beautiful place. This is the charge of the Light Brigade. Half a league, half a league, half a league onward. All in the valley of death rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade, charge for the guns, he said. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade, was there a man dismayed? Not though the soldiers knew someone had blundered. Theirs not to make reply, theirs but to do or die. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Cannon to the right of them, cannon to the left of them, cannon in front of them volleyed and thundered, stormed at with shot and shell. Boldly they rode and well into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell rode the 600. Flashed all their sabres bare, flashed as they mired in air, sabring the guns there, charging an army, whilst all the world wondered. Plunged in the battery smoke, right through the line they broke. Cossack and Russian reeled from their sabre stroke, shattered and sundered. Then they rode back, but not the 600. Cannons to the right of them, cannons to the left of them, cannons behind them volleyed and thundered, stormed at with shot and shell, while horse and hero fell. They that had fought so well came through the jaws of death, back from the mouth of hell. All that was left of them, left of 600. When can their glory fade? Oh, the wild charge they made, all the world wondered. Honour the charge they made, honour the Light Brigade, noble 600. The Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson. This is Tales from the Jails. Do like and subscribe. John G. Sutton.